When you're first starting out in the automotive field, you can feel intimidated for interviews with shop managers. Or maybe you want to start your own business but think you can't compete with other qualified shops. Today we'll take a look at how much smarter is the employer versus the employee. If you're thinking of traveling soon to find jobs or greener pastures, consider checking out Insured Nomads. They offer plans that cover crisis response, medical assistance, reimbursement for your lost and stolen items, and much more. Anywhere you go in the world, they got you covered for treatment. Get a quote today and see if you apply for a good rate. Check them out, link is down below. Now we all know when we go to job interviews, we can feel a little stressed. We walk into a brand new place, we see a new face, and we sit down and wait to be called. Then we have to meet the manager or shop owner. We answer a bunch of questions and then we hope for the best. Sometimes we land the job, sometimes we don't. What happens if the manager doesn't call you back after the interview? Is that what's going to stop you from approaching multiple shops because one or two shops said no to you? You might think to yourself, these guys are smart and know what they're talking about. They must know I'm not cut out for this. Realize that at the end of the day, these employers are making mistakes too, which ain't so smart. Sometimes grave mistakes. Here are two short stories I want to share. The first employer I had was an owner of an independent shop. He was knowledgeable in fixing vehicles, and I learned a lot from him over the course of my employment. But on the first day I noticed he had a car running in his garage bay. I got a quick tour of the shop. Maybe 10 minutes had gone by now. Next thing I know, I see the same car running, spewing out hot coolant into the air like a high pressure fountain you see at the city park. That fountain was probably reaching well over a meter high. Next thing, I see the owner rush back to the car to turn it off and deal with the aftermath. About 2 months working for him now, and I get a car on the lift that needs a brake job. I notice that the caliper pins are seized onto the caliper bracket. I quickly show the owner this problem and he replies, "It's okay, just throw it all back on with the new pads." So essentially I did just that. Put everything back together, and we didn't even order a new caliper or notify the customer. We just put everything back like nothing ever happened. Then I realized the rumors are true about shop owners taking shortcuts, and here was one of them. Not only will the customer's new brake pads wear out even faster, but this could cause a safety hazard down the road later on. The owner just wanted to get a car into the bay and keep generating that cash flow as fast as possible. Not so smart. The second example is when I worked for a different owner who had a good operation going on, but it had a very weak point that could be easily exploited. This weak point could knock him back in heavy fines and possibly revoke his license to keep his shop open, which here in Alberta is a requirement to have a license to keep your shop running. Some provinces in Canada don't need a license, and in the States it seems you don't need one as well. But here in Alberta and some other provinces, if you don't have at least one person with a license working on the floor in your shop, that can spell out trouble for you. I discovered this through my coworker who told me he didn't have a journeyman license, and somehow I got to asking him about it since I was learning from him. And whenever I saw regulations people walk into the shop, I would notice the owner running around frantically. Since it was just me and my coworker at the shop, I knew the owner was trying to cool the regulations people because he had no licensed journeyman in his shop, including himself. And I realized he was just one step away from being shut down because of this. Another shortcut an owner is willing to take so he doesn't have to pay higher wages to a licensed mechanic. Not so smart. But to be fair, these mechanics knew how to fix vehicles and impressed me some of the time. But that's the thing, it's only some of the time. The other times it's just neutral, or they're out there just taking shortcuts and breaking regulations. Which means you as a beginner shouldn't worry when employers say no to you when you ask for a job. Now you know they don't know what they're talking about, and you just head to the next shop and ask again until you land a job. And for people thinking of starting their own business, competition from other shops shouldn't stop you from doing your own thing if you think it's going to work out. So there you go. Employers versus employees. Are employers smarter? No, not really. But if you ever do become an employer, now you know the pitfalls here so you can become a smarter one. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Automotive for Beginners. We'll see you in the next one.